Crafters, this is Collette. Today I'd love to show you how to make this super cute card base. It's not my design, it's been around for many years and there are many different versions of it around. This is my take on this particular card. I'm going to show you how to make the foundation and how to do the first layering of paper, and then I'll show you some other cards that I've made with this particular design. So let's get started. To make the base we need a piece of cardstock. I've chosen the Kaisercraft smooth cardstock. This is a great weight and it's just beautiful for your card making projects. And I've cut this piece of cardstock to 12 inches by 4 inches. And I'm going to place that on my scoreboard and I'm going to do some scoring. So for this particular project we need to score, and I'm using my Martha Stewart scoreboard here, and I'm scoring this at 2 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches and 10 inches. 2, 4, 8 and 10. Now the next thing that I need to do is I need to do a little pencil mark, and I need to make a pencil mark at the 6 inch point. So a little pencil mark at the top and a little pencil mark at the bottom, just at the 6 inch point. So the little pencil mark top and bottom of that particular piece of card. So what I need to do is I need to score from the very first score line down to my pencil mark. So I'm going to pop my score on my black line here and then pop my pencil mark on the same line, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do a diagonal score. Now I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side, starting at the very end score line, popping that on the black line there for reference, and scoring that down to the pencil line. So I now have what looks like a V. And I'm going to turn that around and do exactly the same on the top section. So from the very first score line down to the pencil line, I'm scoring, and I'm going to rotate that and do exactly the same. First score line down to the pencil line. So that's what I end up with. Okay, now we need to fold this particular project. The folding is very important because it helps with the mechanism of this particular design, and the key thing to remember is that you're going to fold all of your vertical score lines as valley folds. So valley goes down, so therefore down. Okay, so you can see that's a valley. So I need to do that on all of those vertical score lines. So valley, the next vertical one, valley again. Okay, 2 valleys. And again the next one, valley, because all of those vertical score lines are valley folds, and the same for the last. So I have got my 4 vertical score lines as valleys. Now all the diagonal lines are folded as mountain folds, so we want the peaks. So I'm going to fold this one back on itself. So I have a mountain shape. And I do the same with all of the other diagonal score lines. Okay, perfect. So now this tells us and shows us exactly, because we have scored this beautifully, this will now just fold into our card base shape. That's what we want. Alright. Now just to make sure our folding is nice and crisp, we're going to make sure we burnish really well. And this helps the project to sit nicely. Okay, so that's the card base done. Super easy. Key things to remember here: all the vertical lines are valley folds and the diagonal lines are mountain folds. So let me just show you how to cover this, the base covering, which is very straightforward. Now I've chosen to decorate this particular card with this beautiful paper from Kaisercraft. It's called the Glisten collection, and I'm using the paper pad, and you can just see inside they are the most stunning glittery foils, and the designs are just beautiful in golds and silver. So I'm using papers from this particular pad, and of course with Kaisercraft you always get these great little collectibles that you can use to decorate the card afterwards. And again, with this Glisten collection you've got all these beautiful little foil elements and glittery elements, so super beautiful. So what I need to do is select some paper, and first up I'm just going to cover the two side panels, and taking my paper trimmer I've decided to use this lovely sheet here with these baubles, and I want to make a feature of these baubles across the bottom. So I need to cut for my side panels 2 3 7/8 by 1 7/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the 3 7/8 first, and I know this confuses a lot of people, so let me just zoom in here to my paper trimmer so you can have a look at what I'm doing. So basically between the inch marks you have these longer ones. So we have one here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's the 7/8, that one there. Okay, in other words, so I'm just going to move it to there, and I'm just going to click that in place and cut that. So that's my 2 7/8 of an inch piece cut. I'm now rotating it, and I need to do the 1 7/8. So this time I'm going to do exactly the same, count them. I know it's always two tiny little marks before the 2 inch there. So I'm going to cut that one and do the same again. So 1 7/8. Okay, so now I have 2 pieces of paper which are cut 1 7/8 by 3 7/8, and now I can stick those onto my card. Of course, if you wanted to, you could actually edge these with a silver pen, which would be beautiful, and I'd probably do that if I wasn't a bit so time conscious. And then that one will go down. See how I've made the little feature of the baubles running along the cross, and I think that looks really pretty. For these little triangles here and this bigger triangle, I need to cut 3 squares which are 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. So I need 3 of those squares, which I've already pre-cut here. And I'm going to take 2 of those squares and I'm going to cut them on the diagonal on my paper trimmer. And the same with the second piece. And now I want to cut them again, so I'm putting the long edge up against my side edge of my cutter, and then I'm cutting, so I end up with these smaller triangles. So I need to do that on all 4 pieces. Okay, so that's the little triangles done, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply stick these little triangles down in the little triangle sections. Helps if I get them straight. That's better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of them, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so you can see I've actually stuck down those little triangular pieces. Now what I need to do is to do the 2 big triangles, and for that we're going to take the square that we cut out earlier. That was the square that was 2 5/8 of an inch, and I'm simply going to cut that on the diagonal once. So I end up with 2 triangles, and those get stuck down on the big triangular piece. Like that, and that. So you can see now that section's finished and we've just got one piece to do here. And for this one, I'm going to choose from that paper pad, from the Glisten paper pad, this beautiful silver bauble one because it's quite striking. And I need to cut this one for the center 2 5/8 of an inch again. Two 5/8 of an inch. And that simply gets popped into the center of that square. And now that card is now covered and it's ready, it's ready for decorating. It looks quite pretty. It'll be easy to dress this one up. So when decorating, you can really go to town, get out your dies and the beautiful collectibles from the papers that you're using, and then just dress it up. So, you know, I love my die cutting. On this particular one here, of course, I've used the beautiful poinsettia card, which has been a favourite of mine this Christmas, and I've cut them out in gold foil. This is from the collectibles. On the side, in the Kaisercraft gold glitter, I cut out the beautiful Lone Star or the Fancy Star. On this particular card, another version, you can see I've used again papers from the collectible pad. I've used the beautiful the decorative reindeer on the front here and just added some bits of gold and glitter, and this was a stamp from the Kaisercraft Glisten stamp set. This particular one again from the Glisten, you can see I've simply showcased the beautiful snowflakes, which are glitter. I'm not sure if you can see how glittery and gorgeous they are. They're standing up a little bit proud. And I just spritzed a little flower there with some of the winter grey Kaiser mist. And again, that beautiful leaf from the poinsettia die. And you'll notice I left the insides in this particular leaf rather than popping them out. So there's lots of creative things that you can do with your dies. Don't necessarily go ahead and pick everything out. Those are left in. And I have one more to show you. This was the Lone Star die that I showed you earlier and we used earlier on the card. I've made that a feature and I've cut out some circles and scallop circles and used some of the washi tape on this particular one. So there are lots of options for decorating them. Doesn't take long to actually make these little cards. Great fun and they look just beautiful. Now in terms of where do you write your sentiment, what I always do on the back, on the inside, just decorate that up beautifully and then just put your sentiment inside there. You've got plenty of other room if you want to write it on the sides as well. So that's what I'm calling my bonbon card. Bonbon because it just reminds me of like a Christmas bonbon or Christmas cracker. Super easy, super fun. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. My name's Collette. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for lots of other creative cards and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.